Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Altcoin Mentors YouTube channel. My name is Peter, and today I'm going to be doing our weekly technical analysis for Bitcoin and the other crypto markets that we currently are trading and are looking at. Our main goal here at Altcoin Mentors is to help as many people as possible achieve their goal of financial freedom, and we believe trading cryptocurrencies is an opportunity of a lifetime. By the end of this video, you have a better understanding of where the crypto markets are going in the short-term and long-term future. If you like our videos, please follow us on Twitter and on Telegram. We also have a model portfolio for our 2K 5X challenge. You can view our positions and our progress. If you'd like to be notified of our latest videos, please hit the bell button. Alright, so let's start with Bitcoin. So nothing as much has been happening for Bitcoin over the whole summer. If you look at the weekly chart, after last year's ramp up, it ramped down, and it started going sideways for a long time now. We've been kind of stuck in this little rut here. So as you can see, up, down, up, down, up, down, even on the weekly candles, there is no direction. So the trend looks like it's going down, but right now there's lots of sideways action for a long time. So if we look at this on the daily, right, you'll see that as well. So what you'll see is that over the summer, basically since June, we've been in sideways action this whole time. So let's look at it over in a shorter time frame, and you can really see what I am talking about here. All right. So this is a window that I drew in the beginning of June. This little box here, this little pink box. I said that this was the range for a certain amount of time when it was from here to here. It broke out of it, it came back in, broke out of it barely, and now it's basically stuck here. So let's recap what I said last week. So this was last week over here. So I said that Bitcoin might be going up, but because it might create a new higher low. So we have it here because we have a higher high here, lower low, a little bit of a higher high, a little bit of a higher low. It went down here. We have a higher high, higher low. And I said, but the key though is we need to have a higher high above this break over here. And it never did that. So it came really close, almost hit the dotted line. And then now it's just been going back sideways. So this is going to be a very important area for us, this little zone here. So now this is almost like a mini little range area here. Right, so between these two lines here. So because basically over the last 2.5 weeks, this is where all the price action has been for Bitcoin. So until it really breaks out of this area and out of this bigger zone here, this pink box, Bitcoin is really not going to go anywhere. That's why it's really hard to trade this. So if you are going to trade, the only thing you can really do is to scalp. So, or you have to go long term. So basically, the idea is very simple, right? You can't do anything in between, right? There's not a lot of swing trades, not a lot of position trades. So what you have to do is you have to really drill down and look at a smaller time frame, 5 minute, 10 minute, 15 minutes, chart. Take quick profits. Or if you really believe in a long-term point of view, what you do is you can either go short or long, because it's very indecisive right now. You can either go short or long, but then just hold on to it for a long time. And just don't worry about the ranges. And right now there isn't that much of a range. So the range here is between 6,300 and 6,800. So it's less than a 10% range, which for Bitcoin is actually very small. Because now I'm not going to say like back in the day, but a few months ago, the daily range, right, the daily ATR was around 10%. So for us to be stuck in a 10% range here, less than 10% range for almost 3 weeks now, is pretty incredible. So until it really breaks out of it one way or another, it's really not doing much. So right now it has a slight upside bias. Like I said, we have a higher low. We didn't create a higher high yet. So here I would say, if I was going to do it, I'm not going to do it, but if I was, what I would do is I would go long and then wait until it breaks out, maybe put a stop below at the bottom of the range. So the reason why I'm not doing it is because I, don't trade like that. Right? It's for other people. I'm just showing you another perspective if you want to do that. right? For me, I would rather trade shorter time frames and scalp and just just pick little targets. So basically, the idea is that if the range is from 6,300 to 6,800, so you have a $500 range, you break it up into 250. So your targets would be a minimum profit of 125 to 250, somewhere in that zone. So anytime you hit 125, you go over. So for example, is this. So I'll give you the example here. Let's drill down here. I'll look at a shorter time frame. Here we go. So then the idea would be here, let's say that we went long, right over here. So we go long at 65.84. So at 65.84, if I get to around this point over here, around 66.80, what I'm going to do then is I'm going to put my trailing stop right underneath that. So this way I lock in an immediate profit. Well, so let's go back here. So let's say that we got in here, just to show it to you a little bit better on the charts. Okay. So let's say you got in at this point here. Right. So let's just draw this. So we'll just do an imaginary trade here. Let's say I got in at 65.14. Right. So then at 65.14, I want to make between 125 and 250. So my 125 zone here would be right around here, which is at the top, almost perfect. Okay. And at 250, it would be a little bit higher, above this green line, right? So which isn't so bad because it was there before, right over here. So it's not so bad. So then if I took this trade, what I would say is that I would go here and then I would put my stop loss right below 125. So this way, 125 is the least amount of money that I'm going to make. So if it had closed above this number here, right, I keep on trailing it until it gets to about 250, and then at my minimum profit of 250, I get out. This way, what you're really doing is you're just locking in profit, because in this area you can't really make a lot. So 125 would be a good number because that's a decent amount of money that you can make, and the ranges are pretty small, but you can actually do it as long as you just avoid the chop. So let's look at Ether now. So Ether is something that I've been trading pretty well, because all I've been doing is shorting it at resistance. It's been very simple. So as you can see here, unlike Bitcoin, it didn't stage here, right? It actually broke through. So here is the March and April low. It was going sideways for a long time, and then it broke it, which is 383. Now it's at another major support level around 240, right? But it can't seem to go higher than that. So it's just not breaking it. So here on Ether, as you can see it, this is where 240 is, right here. So every time it gets to around 240, around here, I wait for a little curl to the downside, and I short it. That's all I've been doing. I've been making some money, and I take some profits. So the difference here, though, is that unlike Bitcoin, where it has 10%, it hasn't been in a 10% range, Ether has been in a bigger range for a while. So 10% range here is from 200 all the way to 240. That's 20%. So this 20% range is pretty good because now you can make some money. So basically what I do here is see how it goes. It hit resistance here, right? I was going to go long if it bounced. So I'll show you what I was going to do. My plan was to go, if it goes up, here, like it did here, go here and then hit here, and then it has to break above this level here. Right, so it has to go above there for me to go long, but it never did that. So instead, what it did do though, was it did the opposite, right? So what it did was, it went down below, tried to test it, and then went below, which is here. So that's all I've been doing, shorting. So I shorted here, I shorted here, and then all you're doing is you're taking profits. So you're not looking for a lot, you're looking for anywhere between 5 to 10%. So 20% is the range. Right? So you want to make at least, your goal is to make half of that, because you can't get in at the very top and you're not going to get in at the very bottom. Right? So you want to make somewhere between, so if the range is 20%, you want to make at least 10%. Not at least. The maximum you want to make is around 10%. Right? Because you don't want to be too greedy, because it can snap back, because you're in a range. So, but the minimum you want to make is around 5%. Right? So here that would be, $10 would be your minimum, $10 to $20 would be the range. That's what you really want to be doing. And if you're not greedy with it, then you can actually, do that. Do that pretty well. do that pretty well. So let's look at EOS. So EOS on a weekly didn't go below the February, April lows. So it's still, but it's been going sideways. So if you look at this on the daily, you can see it. So for some of the summer, it was going in this little box here, just going sideways. And I said if it breaks, it can be in trouble, and that's what it did. It broke this box here, and then now look what it did. So see this little red line here? So this used to be support in this range, right? And now it's resistance. So now basically it's going above from this box to this box here. So, and this one is actually pretty good because the range here, right, is basically from, go just to the bottom, not even to the green here. You go here, talking about 460 to about 680, $6 over here. So you're looking at about 25%. That's pretty good. So this is also a good range where you can actually make some money off of it. That's really what you're looking for. But you cannot hold it long term. You have to just go into the mentality that you're going to scalp and take some small profits. Same thing with XMR. It's the same type of chart here. So a lot of these things are going to be similar. That's why I'm talking about the different trading strategies instead of just the charts. Because for the last few weeks, all the charts have been doing is going sideways. So Icon is the only one that looks a little bit different. So the other day I said that Icon might actually look pretty good. So because it's been ranging, but it's been going a little bit higher and higher and higher, and the ranges have been pretty good. So I'm not long yet, right? But if it breaks this little high over here, then I might go long. Enigma was something that I was thinking about going long in, but then it started breaking down, and it's right at major support. So this is major support. So if he goes here, it broke down below, and now it's just been going sideways, for a very, very long time. So I set out same thing. I was going to break it over here, and then so far it hasn't really broken it. It's just been going sideways. So ZRX was looking better over here, right? So a couple weeks ago, someone asked me when it hit major resistance over here, is this a good time to buy? I said no. Wait for it to break again. Wait for it to break, and it never did. So it hit it, came back down. Now it looks like it's going back a little bit higher. And so in this area, I might look at getting back in, maybe around 98.61, and then around major resistance, take some profits or put a curl stop on it. So I'll tell you what a curl stop is. So basically, you see this close here. So on this one, there's a difference between this candle, and just like this one pops up and pops down. This one goes higher, closes above here. So then you just put your stop loss right below major support, right? So, and it only hits it down here. So here, it never pops up. So now what I'm waiting for is same thing like before. What I was waiting for before was for it to go, test, and go back up. But it never did that. But then now, it's just been going sideways. But now it created a lower low. Now it looks like it's going higher. So I'm going to look for a higher high and a higher low before I go in. Look at Zcoin over here. So same thing over here. This was looking good for a while, but now it's just going sideways. Everything is going pretty much sideways. So Link was looking really good. It was one of my stars for a while. As you can see, it rode it up, right? So this was major support. So I said this same thing, right? Wait for it to test it, go below. This would be your stop loss. Never hit it, went up, and it went up a lot. And now here we are again. So here we are not at major support, but we are at medium-term support. So same thing here. It tested it. If it goes higher, if it breaks a certain level, probably it's getting really close to it. Maybe if it crosses like the 200 at 4937, then I would look into going long. Get BitShares. So BitShares is after it broke above major support, which was major resistance. Now it's above here. So same thing. If it goes lower, you could probably test major support. If it doesn't break, I'm looking for the bounce back and go to the upside. So right now, unfortunately, the only way to trade is to day trade, scalp. It's harder to do that because a lot of times you don't have time to do it. But one of the things you can do is just put in brackets. So a bracket order is basically one cancels the other. So basically what you do is you enter a price and you put a target up at the top, stop loss at the bottom, right? And you set it so that one order cancels the other. So basically, if it hits the target, it cancels the stop loss at the bottom. And then now your position is closed. So this way you don't have to sit in front of your computer all day, look at things, and it can just, but the key though here is to try to make just a little bit at a time, right? Not a whole lot. Because in this market, that's the only thing that you can do. So you don't get too greedy. You look at the hourly, half daily ATRs. You look for those as targets. You find a good place, look for a good entry, and you don't try to overmanage it, and then you just let it hit your target or your stop loss. Because the stop loss are going to be pretty tight. Just because your profits are not going to be that big anyway. So if you take a loss, it's going to be small. And the key here is that until you really get comfortable, you don't go in with big size. You just try to test this thing out. Right? So one of the things that I heard from a couple people is that because the markets are so choppy, what if so one of my mentees asked me, what if I go in with a large size and just try to scalp at like 2-3%, right? But just go in big. So because what I always tell people is that you shouldn't risk a lot of your account in one single trade. So basically, you want to at the maximum you want to your stop loss should be about 2%. Maybe 5% at the very max, right, of your account, because then that's really big, right? For me, on a personal level, it's usually around 1-2%, right, on any given trade. So I'm not trying to make a lot off of every single position, right, because I am a day trader, so I'm trying to make money every single day. But so that's because of that, I'm not trying to risk a lot. So most of the time, it's just like 1%. So he asked me, what if I, instead of like putting it at 1%, what if I just go like big and go like 5, 10? Times, right? But just keep my target so small that most likely to hit it. I told him the problem with doing that with cryptos, unlike the other regulated markets like futures or currencies or stocks or ETFs, right? Is that because the volatility is so great, right? In a lot of the cryptos, you actually have a higher probability of getting kicked out all the time. Right? So because of that, what you want to do is until the market changes, right? You just want to trade. Just because you want to be, like engaged with the markets. You don't want to trade here a little bit, right? You don't want to lose your focus, and you don't want to lose your enthusiasm, right, for the market. So you just want to make a little bit of side money. So you just go in and then you just keep on trading, but just in small size. Take small profits and take small losses. I hope you enjoyed our video. Thank you very much for watching. If you like our videos, please share it with your friends and other crypto traders. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Telegram. If you have any questions, please ask away in the comments section below. We do a very good job of answering all of your comments and questions right away. Thank you again for watching, and see you in our next video.